Oh, I got to tell you, I'm excited. My friend, Bob Beaudine, is back with us here today. He authored The Power of Who, and he's the only person I know that can upstage Matt Lauer on his own show. Welcome back, Bob.
Hey, Kurt, what are you doing?
How are you today, Bob?
Man, I'm telling you, it's going to be a Who Fest on this with you today.
Oh, I've just been excited all week. It's like, when is Friday? Forget about paycheck. Bob, who needs a paycheck here today? I'm like, okay, paycheck, Bob? No way. Bob is the man. Bob, how are you?
Man, I'm really doing good. We've had a crazy week and a lot of fun stuff happening with speeches and things around on the book, so it's really going hot.
Bob, you've been busy. I've been following you around. It's like, wow, Bob is doing an awesome job. It's like, let's get some shirts, some Traders Nation shirts and T-shirts and ties and hats out to Bob. He's got to get us on there.
I'm telling when people really get this concept that you got who, that you got this community of friends that actually will come to your aid and help you in a time of crisis, instead of going to strangers, everything changes. Our whole paradigm changes.
Bob, it's like wildfire. Okay, so let's talk about this. As you know, times are getting more difficult. The numbers are rising on the unemployment side. How difficult is it together for one to pull together their who list?
Well, it seems to be hard so far because we've gotten so used to calling people who are acquaintances our friends that they go through this, this psychological warfare when they ask somebody to do it, and then all of a sudden they're waiting for Bob Barker to call. He's retired.
That's correct.
He's not calling. So you've got to actually stop and make a list of 12, 3, and 1.
Yeah.
Who are your 12 friends? Your 3 closest, your 1 best. If you can't actually tell me that, don't you agree that you're out of balance?
All right, I agree with that 100%. So, Bob, then we're talking really about quality, not quantity, right?
Oh, you're exactly right. I mean, so many names, so many people out here are outdoing Facebook and all these other stuff, and they're outdoing it, but Facebook's good for peace if I can find my real friends, the people I used to know that actually touch my lives, that actually can be someone I know that I spent some time with, I had a moment with. When you have those moments, everything's different.
I've had some great moments in my life, Bob, but that's for another show. All right, so let's talk about tools then, because I think Facebook is a nice tool to network, but should that be part of our list of tools for the Who list?
Absolutely. I think it's what I call an inventory tool. It's one of those ones that you put in the name of your high school, you put in the name of your college, and up pops a bunch of people. A great thing about Facebook is you don't really have to accept people. So you can actually say no, but at the same time, people hear about you, especially out there that as a huge celebrity as you are. They find you, they come back and they go, "Where have you been, Kurt?"
I know I've got people on there. I don't know who they are, but we're all friends, aren't we? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. But when we go in and now really do this, I really start first and say, let's go, let's change the rules. They got to know you. They got to know your wife's name. They got to say, if you're really going to put someone in my 12 list, you got to be at my house and have a barbecue.
Sure.
I got to know that you're really going to do something. I had an agent, top agent, say to me the other day that he thought his head coach, it would be amazing if his head coach would just introduce him to the other head coaches.
Sure.
And then he'd be able to handle all their business.
Sure.
And I said, and he's not doing that? And he says, no. And I said, why? And he said, he says he wants me just to do his work. And I said, let me ask you a few questions. And he said, sure. And I said, so what's his wife's name?
Yeah, that's correct.
Oops.
Yeah.
And have you been to his house for barbecue? No. Ooh. So you mean what you're asking someone to do for you is transformational, but you're just treating them transactionally. We can't use our friends, but we also have to understand that our old friends are pre-wired to want to help us.
Right.
So they're ready to.
Right. Now, that's interesting that you say that because they really are. If they're really your friends, then they don't mind as long as they don't feel put out by this, that they're going to help you, correct? They're going to be
absolutely. One of life's pleasant phenomena is that once someone holds a place in your heart, they never leave.
Right.
So you can call them.
Yeah.
And they'll actually help you.
And you can call without reservation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Listen to me. If when I always say to people, and they say, I don't want to use them because I haven't talked to them in ages, I say, stop.
They may know that
you and I are best friends. You'd help.
Yeah, they do that. They say, well, if I call them, and do I beat around the bush, or do I just come out and ask them?
Well, I like to initially just say, hey, I missed you.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Where you been?
Catch up on your life.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, when we're into it, now all of a sudden we get to the next piece that says, hey, I need some help over here.
Sure.
So, I mean, somewhere along the line, we've got to get back to our who. Sometimes these are people in high school, college, first job, second job, neighbors.
Right.
You know, what if the success tip of the world is that one person you knew the person you needed to know, and they just connect you?
Right.
Well, of course, because references, endorsements, testimonials, they're your biggest asset, right?
Yeah, absolutely they are. I mean,
most people aren't doing it. So what we're doing is going out to a bunch of strangers and then waiting and thinking they're going to help us. Why? Because to some degree, we're caught up and really excited about the fact that we've been very successful in our past, and somehow we've kind of lost it, and now we're banking on our resumes.
Yeah.
People don't hire resumes. They hire people.
Sure.
And in the statistics, I think that's one of the keys in this whole thing is this. 87% of all jobs are placed off of one friend.
Yeah.
So anybody else is in a 13% chance.
What do you do when you start putting your list of who together, and you find out that some of these people are maybe in the same boat as you are? So do we move on to what in the hell list?
That's so funny, but you know what's so great is one person asked me the other day on some TV thing and said, "What if all your friends are losers?" I said, "What are you talking about? Everybody has something great." Here's the thing I tell you about they're in the same situation.
Yes.
They've got friends. Oh. And so one of the big problems that we have is the three reasons we don't get what we want. One, we don't ask.
Right.
Two, we ask the wrong who.
Yeah.
Okay, or three, we're vague, and this is a real issue right now. So you go to your friends and you say, "Hey, you know, I'm looking to get into this thing. What do you think?" They say, "Let me think about it. I'll call you back." Yeah. We're not calling you back.
Right.
You never told them anything. But if you told them and made an actual list of specific companies in the city you wanted with the specific person in that company you need to know, all of that's on the internet, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, and then you say to your list of who, do you know this person or this person or this person? You know, by the time, even if you got down to 7 and they didn't know one of them, you know what they say?
Yeah.
Hey, you're thinking, hey, I got to get this guy off the phone, but I'm banking on that because they're your friend and they know one guy, one person in a similar company, and that's where this destiny thing starts to hit.
Bob, it sounds to me you really got to massage your who.
You do. You gotta take care. You gotta cultivate them. You got to spend time with them. And you know the best way in this process, we got to change the paradigm from me first, me alone, and I can do it for myself, to how can I help you?
Right.
What do you need? And yes, I can help you. See, one of the things is the way we get around this is that you've got who. I told you before, I said I got 5,365 people in my network.
Yeah.
But it only came down to 87 who actually have ever done anything for me.
Right, I see.
But my 87 will actually help you, Kurt. Why? Because we're friends.
Sure.
You don't have to know them.
Yeah.
They're going to help me help you, and that's the power of who. It's just this kind of Verizon ad behind me of all these people, this network.
Right.
And that's what we're missing. We look at our friends in one dimension, and that's not the dimension you should, because your guy, hey, my dentist can't help me. You know, my mom can't help me.
Your dentist just wants to drill you. All right. Now, Bob, listen, outside of employment purposes, okay, what would be another benefit of having your who list?
You know, one of the great things, a friend of mine calls one of my really, really close friends and says that his dad's best friend is dying, has 6 weeks to live because he couldn't get in, and he's going to die if he doesn't get into this experimental program.
Right.
So what does he do? He turns and and my friend says, "Hey, call Beaudine."
Right.
And he goes, "The executive recruiter?
Yes.
Is he a doctor?" And he goes, "Call him." And so the guy calls me and says this, and I said, "Yeah, send me all the stuff, all the stuff about this disease."
Right.
Why? Are you in this something?
Yeah.
And I said to him, "Listen, what you don't know is that I placed one of the board of directors of that hospital system."
Yeah.
And so when I called my friend and said, "Hey, have you ever saved anybody in your life?" He turns and goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, they had something in their throat and you did a Heimlich grip." "No, they jumped on the floor, you did mouth to mouth." "No, you're their next door neighbor and they're burning in the house and you saved their kid." "No, today we got to get this guy in." We got him in. Here's the amazing aspect. It doesn't matter if we're talking about jobs.
Right.
We're talking about, getting our moms into nursing homes.
Or what you did.
You need to have who.
You gotta have who, because you can use who for absolutely every aspect of your life. Just that simple.
Absolutely.
Bob, we're out of time, but we're going to have you back again. The Power of Who. Where can we find it?
Go to powerofwho.com.
Yeah.
You can go to local bookstores. If they don't have them, tell them to get the books in the store.
They're probably sold out. Bob Beaudine,
they're going like hotcakes. I'm telling you.
They're like flying out like jets. The Power of Who. Bob Beaudine with us once again. It's always a pleasure, Bob. Thanks for being with us.
Honored to be with you.
We'll be right back. Stay tuned.